On the news, gunmen killed 2 in attack on Plateau community. President Buhari set to boost tourism and investment with new visa policy. And former Kenyan President Daniel Arap Moi dies at 95. Many thanks for joining us on News Now on TV360 Nigeria. I am Annetta Philip. 2 people have been reportedly killed and 1 other injured as gunmen again invaded Plateau communities on early hours of Tuesday. Eyewitnesses say the gunmen struck in the Kura Falls community back in Ladi local government area, killing 1 person. The Plateau Police Command had confirmed that 26 persons were killed and 190 houses completely razed down in recent attacks on some communities in Bokos and Mango local government area of Plateau. President Muhammadu Buhari has officially presented the Nigeria Visa Policy 2020 to the general public. While presenting the document at the State House in Abuja on Tuesday, President Buhari said the implementation of the new policy will improve Nigeria's business environment, attract foreign direct investment, and boost tourism without compromising national security. Our correspondent Abisola Debayo tells us more.
Sequel to President Muhammadu Buhari's pronouncements last year that a new policy of visas on arrival would be granted to all African travelers starting from January 2020. The federal government has now followed through on the promise by unveiling the Nigeria Visa Policy 2020. According to the president, this policy is to enhance business opportunities and achieve African integration through the visas on arrival for holders of passports of African Union countries.
This is an important policy document which seeks to complement our efforts towards protecting our national identity and the defense of our sovereignty and territorial integrity. This Nigeria Visa Policy 2020 provides an avenue to achieve African integration by the introduction of visas on arrival for short visits to Nigeria for holders of passports of African Union countries. I therefore commend the document to the international community, foreign and local business entities. We are often for business.
Minister of Interior Rauf Aregbesola explains extensively the benefits of the new initiative, giving further clarifications.
The Nigeria Visa Policy MVP 2020 aims at supporting the attainment of the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan 2017 to 2020. And this we have synthesized at our own level to simply mean security, economy, and transparency. The operationalization of this is cardinal to the ease of doing business in Nigeria, boosting tourism and expanding opportunities to meaningfully apply the principle of reciprocity in visa policy in our bilateral and multilateral relations.
Comptroller General of the NIS, Mohammed Babandede, explains how this new policy would work for visitors, as well as how the new visa policy is designed according to the nation's need.
Every nation has to make its visa based on its need. Your economic development, your social development, your security issues, it has to be based on that. And what is key in it that this policy has been stated, it has taken care of security. Mr. President has spoken, Minister has spoken, and we have mentioned many issues that the national security will not be compromised. What we have done is even enhance the national security because we are connected with the Interpol database for wanted person in our airport, real-time online. People should appreciate that there is no security fear on this. We have to open our market, we have to be competitive, but we have to be careful in terms of not to compromise national security.
Some of the features of the 2020 visa policy includes the granting of social visas to visitors desiring to visit Nigeria for religious purposes, sports events, and others that need to visit their family members who are residing in the country. It would also accommodate education visa for those desiring to study in Nigeria. Abisola Adebayo, TV360, Nigeria.
Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, says opinions are divided over the continuous stay of service chiefs in office despite rising insecurity. The Speaker said this while briefing State House correspondents after meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari alongside Senate President Ahmed Lawan. Gbajabiamila revealed that a committee comprising members of the National Assembly and the Executive will be set up to periodically review the security situation in the country.
The Inspector General of Police, has he met up to his responsibilities? The question is, if we now limit it to the Inspector General of Police, many will argue with you that he has done a very good job. And many will argue with you that he is arm-strong, straight-jacketed. There's very little he can do in the face of no equipment, no funding, and no. We did explain to Mr. President that we have to increase funding. We have to recruit more. And we're talking. Mr. President has gone, even right here now, we have gone up to set up a committee that will periodically review the issue of security and other things that may come up. That will meet, periodically, maybe once a month, once every 6 weeks. That will involve the two arms of government and the party.
We have come to discuss with Mr. President the way forward, what we feel about some of these security challenges, and also to ask him what he thinks we should do. Even though in the Senate we still have our committee, ad hoc committee, to work and come up, fashion out specific measures that we believe should be taken. But in the interim, there is need for us as a government to ensure that we provide a way out to tackle the security challenges. And then in the intermediate and in the long term, we should be able to also come up with some strategies, the roadmap to ensure that we secure the lives and property of Nigerians.
The Nigerian Senate has threatened to take drastic actions against government agencies that fail to submit their audited accounts before the end of the year. President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, gave the warning on Tuesday's plenary, shortly after the passage of the 2020 budget for the Nigeria Customs Service, totaling 238 billion naira. The report of the Committee on Customs on the agency's 2020 budget created division among the lawmakers, following the presentation by its chairman, Francis Alimike Kena.
Or the VAT collected, and that will amount to 7.5 trillion naira. This is, Mr. President, is backed by an act of National Assembly.
This is one area I want us as a Senate to look into the nitty-gritty of it. We are not saying they are not doing well. They are doing well. And to whom much is given, much is expected. But what we understand is that this cost of collection that we set aside for them should be the only area of revenue accruing to them, out of which they should defray their expenditure.
Every time you see all these agencies, yet their budget is in deficit. Our committees must begin to ask the question, if this amount is budgeted and in that same year you are in deficit of your own financial audit, and you have not submitted your report to the Auditor General, this budget should not be considered.
The agencies of government have not been submitting their audited accounts. This is unacceptable. And I think we need to take drastic action here. So I'm advising the MDS, especially those that are not up to date with their audited accounts, to do so. Because we could decide as a National Assembly to take punitive measures against agencies of government that are not up to date with their audited accounts.
Lawmakers in the House of Representatives have rejected a motion to evacuate Nigerians allegedly stranded in China following the outbreak of the coronavirus. The lawmakers, who voted massively against the motion raised by the spokesperson of the House, Benjamin Okeze, said China has better facilities to handle the situation than Nigeria. Despite efforts by the Speaker of the House, Femi Gbajabiamila, to calm the lawmakers and allow Okeze to move his motion, the lawmakers denied him the opportunity. Drama ensued when two other sponsors of the bill, who were meant to support the motion declined to second the motion to be moved. Recall that Nigerians resident in China, under the umbrella body of Nigerians in Diaspora Organization, East China Chapter, had issued a desperate call for the evacuation following the outbreak of the novel coronavirus. Following the upsurge in the outbreak of Lassa fever and coronavirus, the Federal Ministry of Environment is taking the necessary steps to prevent a possible spread of the disease in Nigeria. These complementary efforts was in display during a sensitization campaign program on public health and waste management in Jabi Motor Park and Gariki Modern Market, all in Abuja. The ministry is urging Nigerians to prioritize personal hygiene as an escape route from all manner of sanitation-related diseases.
Poor waste management is an environmental hazard which threatens human health and can lead to disease outbreak. It is in line with being proactive that the Environmental Health Officers Registration Council of Nigeria embarked on the sensitization campaign to parks and markets in Abuja metropolis. During the program, the health officials emphasized the need for cleanliness for a better living.
Any departure from sanitation that may give rise to epidemic, we in the market will affect thousands of households in Abuja, true or false? Because many people converge here, people from even Nasarawa, people from various local area councils, they converge to buy what they eat. And therefore, the environment under which this market is operated is very dear to our hearts.
It is very important and crucial for them to maintain and observe sanitation and hygiene regulations and provisions as it relates to their trade. They must make sure that they keep their goods, especially the food items that are sold raw, in good hygienic conditions.
In response, representatives from the market and park enjoined their members to take all health advice they have received seriously.
It's good for you to go home and wash any leaf, not only ugu at all, any leaf that you are going to cook, especially nowadays that disease full everywhere. We have the one in China, we have the one even in Nigeria here. We are now hearing about Lassa fever. All these things are from dating.
The Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, has set up a coronavirus preparedness group and says it is ready to activate its incident command system for coronavirus if any case emerges in Nigeria. Unyi Adekunle, TV360, Abuja.
The World Health Organization has announced that the outbreak of the deadly novel coronavirus, which has spread from China to 24 countries, does not yet constitute a pandemic. The head of the WHO's Global Infectious Hazard Preparedness Division, Sylvie Bryant, revealed this to newsmen in Geneva. Bryant said the world is presently at a phase where it's an epidemic with multiple focus. She said while there is the rapid spread of transmission in Hubei outside the province, there are mainly spillover cases with sporadic clusters of transmission. Now, the government of Jersey in the United States of America has said it would monitor how Nigeria spends the $308 million looted by the late former head of state, General Sani Abacha. This was contained in a press statement published on the website of the U.S. Embassy and Consulate in Nigeria on Tuesday. The statement announced that the government of Jersey, Nigeria, and the United States of America have entered into an asset recovery agreement to repatriate over $308 million of forfeited assets to Nigeria. The Solicitor General and Attorney General designate of Jersey, Mark Temple QC, who signed the agreement on behalf of Jersey, said the agreement represents the culmination of 2 decades of intensive work by law officers in Jersey, the United States, and Nigeria. Since the Lagos state government placed a ban on the operation of commercial motorcycles and tricycles, popularly known as Okada and Keke Napep, the residents of Lagos have been reacting to the incident. Before the ban, the Okada and Keke Napep, as it was fondly called, was the popular choice for most Lagosians to help beat traffic and for easy movement. Speaking to TV360 Nigeria, the residents react to how they've been affected by the ban.
Personally, I don't think there's anything I'm going to say that's going to change anything. So I've accepted my fate as like every other Lagosian.
If they want to actually ban it, they have to put a lot of things in place. Okay, I read on news somewhere that Sanwo-Olu, 65 other BRT was actually in town for people to use. But in the long run, that should have been in place ever since he actually intend to do that. Why is it that it was after it actually took effect that I now knew that he was supposed to bring it out? That plan should have been available so that when the Okada is banned and the Keke, then we all know that, okay, fine, we have enough time to prepare for that. That was actually not good for us.
Assuming they ban them on the highway now, that will be better. But at least, for example now, I'm coming from Oshodi to Ikeja here. For me to board a Keke to Okpebi now, I just need to stress myself. I trek from here to Okpebi, street trek back. It's unfair.
For Okada, it's good they ban Okada, especially in the expressway, not in the street, or maybe when you come back from your work from work and you're supposed to enter Okada or Keke to go to your street. You will not see anyone. You start trekking. Like me now, I've been trekking from Adeni drones to this place. There is no Keke to enter. There is no bike. That is another headache. This one is we are just suffering and smiling. It's not good.
It's not fair because people suffer. We ask for change and everything change with sufferness and pain. Like now, I walk out from Mali now, reach here. And that is not fair. They say we should not enter Marwa, we should not enter bike. We don't know the one that we do.
The Lagos state government says it is determined to build on its efforts in making the state a smart city in the 3 years through a collaborative effort of sharing technological know-how from 11 other African cities. The senior special advisor to the governor on science and technology, Said Balogu, made the remarks while speaking at the first edition of the Lagos State Africa Smart Town Network Trans-Cities Exchange, ASTON. He explained that the focus was to bring better and smarter city to residents in Lagos.
When we have a city that is smart, it means there is expected service outcome. So, and in the course of delivering service, for example, you're delivering service around transport, then ultimately you expect some revenue, some income from the transport system as well. So those are part of the things that build up that smart economy that is reliant on a smart city solution.
For us, it's about collaboration, it's about knowledge sharing, it's about technology input, it's about impact, positive impact of developments. And we focus on using technology to improve mobility in Lagos. Very, very soon you are going to be seeing a lot of our programs to improve the mobility system in the state.
You're still watching News Now on TV360 Nigeria. We'll be right back with more stories.
Hello Lagosians, my name is Aki Ambayomi. I'm the Commissioner of Health for Lagos. I'm here to tell you about this new infection that's going around the world. It's called the coronavirus. It emanated in China. It came from the animal kingdom. It has affected 17 countries. About 4,590 patients have been affected, with about 106 deaths to date. It has typical symptoms: headache, running nose, cough, sore throat, muscle ache, high fever, difficulty breathing, pneumonia perhaps. And if you feel that you are experiencing any of these symptoms and you've had a contact either by virtue of travel to Southeast Asia or people that have come from Southeast Asia, we would like you to present to one of our general hospitals. Here in Lagos, we're ramping up our capacity. Our general hospitals are getting more in tune with this situation. We're increasing our surveillance at the airports. We're building our emergency operations center where we can harmonize our response to this infection. Please, Lagosians, take this situation seriously and contact any of the numbers that we're going to display on the screen for you.
This message is from the Lagos State Ministry of Health.
You're welcome back, and it's over now to Onyi Adekule for business stories.
Thank you, Aneta. The chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS, Mohammed Nami, has said bringing the informal sector to the tax net would address the country's budget deficit and increase revenue. Nami said this at the 9th African Tax Administration Forum's Country Correspondents Conference and Experts Meeting on Taxation of the Informal Sector in Abuja. He explained that the figures of those who constitute the informal sector were high and could contribute significantly to the country's economy and that of the continent by paying their taxes. Nami, who is also the chairman of ATAF, said it was estimated that the informal sector in Africa constituted between 21 and 70% of the gross domestic product of most African countries. We'll take a pause here and return with stock market review. Please stay tuned. Nigeria's stock market closed today on a negative note, sustaining the bearish trend since last week. The all-share index decreased to 28,432 basis points from 28,533 in previous session, while the value of listed equities closed today at 14.645 trillion naira. And of course, you know, that's in addition to 160 billion naira losses incurred by investors in previous session. CAP recorded the highest or largest loss today after its share price dropped from 25 naira to 22 naira and 60 kobo, while Dangote Sugar followed, shedding 1 naira 35 kobo in the value of its share price. Zenith Bank also maintained its spot on the losers chart, and investors in the stocks of UACN also lost 45 kobo as the stock closed at 8 naira and 50 kobo today. And on the flip side, Union Bank continues to advance in trading, locking in more gains to the tune of 60 kobo, followed by Julius Berger, which is recording significant gains, recovering from previous losses actually. Law Union and Rock Insurance PLC, as well as Wapik Insurance, also had a good performance on the floor of the market today. In total, investors exchanged 254.8 million units of shares valued at 3 billion naira, and that exchanged hands in 5,199 deals. In all, market watchers expect that this sell-off would ease later on in the week. But moving on to foreign scene now, FTSE is trading high as market extends recovery from coronavirus sell-off. And it's the same situation for Dow Jones and Nikkei as well, all closing in the greens today. And that's it from here. It's back to you, Aneta.
We'll take a break now and we'll be right back. Please stay with us.
Give him his shoes somewhere here. His phone and everything.
Don't do like that again.
Thank you. So, bye-bye. Hey, Oga, where do you think you are going? Oh.
You never shake body.
Eh?
You never shake body.
Shake body, see?
Huh? You never shake body.
Eh?
Never shake body.
I don't get comfort for my body.
You go take for here. Sit down there.
Down.
What's this man still doing here?
They say I do shake body. I shake body, I shake body. They say I do this. And I say I don't get color.
You are asking for money.
Sorry, ma'am.
Asking for money to bail a suspect is an act of corruption. Both of you will be punished. Corruption is not allowed within the force. Remember,
police is your friend. Giving and taking bribe is wrong.
Corruption, not in my country.
Stop corruption now.
Corruption not in my country.
Kenya's former president, Daniel Arap Moi, has died at the age of 95. The news of his death was announced by Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta, who said the nation had lost a great man. Moi was Kenya's longest-serving president, and he was in office for 24 years until intense pressure forced him to step down in 2002. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has sent his condolences to the government and people of Kenya. In a message signed by his media spokesman, Femi Adesina, President Buhari described Arap Moi as a frontline nationalist who gave his best for the development of his country and was a key factor in the stability of the East African region and Africa in general. And in sports, President Muhammadu Buhari has appointed retired Nigerian professional footballer, former Super Eagles player, and assistant coach Daniel Amokachi, Nigeria's football ambassador. Amokachi, a member of the 1994 Super Eagles team that won the African Nations Cup in Tunisia, was also in the Nigerian Olympic football team in the 1996 Atlanta Olympics that won the gold medal. Amokachi will assist the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports Development to scout for talent, be part of processes to revive the country's football development, as well as mentor young sportsmen and women. And that's it on News Now on TV360 Nigeria. Thanks for watching.